is your name, age,
Go.
and your relationship with me?
My name is Judy Crown. My age is 73, and I'm your grandma.
And are you or were you married, or do you have a family? And describe your family.
I am married. I'm married to my husband, Bert Bogash, and I do have a family. You're my family. You and your mom and Brady and Jim are my family.
And where were you when you were born?
I was in Washington, D.C. I was born in Washington, D.C.
And when were you born?
in 1942 in July.
And are you the first generation to be born in the U.S.?
No, my ancestry goes back to the 1700s in the United States.
What do you remember about November 22nd, 1963, when John Kennedy was assassinated?
It was a terrible day. I was working in Washington, D.C. I was actually working right across the park from the White House. And when they announced that he had been shot, I saw the flag on the White House go down to half staff. And so before they even announced it on the radio, I knew that our president had been killed.
How do you think it changed the U.S. with this event?
I think it changed it a great deal. I think there was a lot of fear. I think that there became a lot of conspiracy theories about what happened. It was very, very difficult for the next president, Lyndon Johnson, to continue on as president, but he created great things, even though it was very difficult for him. And he created the Civil Rights Act, which was very, very important for people in this country.
Okay, how about the Vietnam War? Do you think America had trust in the federal government by the end of the war? If so, has his trust ever been won back?
I think that the Vietnam War was destructive to this country. There were very many people who died unnecessarily for a war that should have never happened. It really galvanized the young people, the college students, to change this country for the better. I think that it did change this country for the better, but I do think that people have never regained the trust in the government that they had before that.
And how do you think the world's perception of the United States changed on July 20th, 1969, when we put the first man on the moon?
I don't know that the world was changed. I think there was a lot of respect for scientific achievement in the United States all over the world. I think it was an amazing event that a man actually landed on the moon. It was an unbelievable event. And I think it did increase the respect for people in the United States, for the country.
How do you think the world looked at the U.S. following Nixon's resignation on August 8, 1974, in response to the Watergate scandal?
I don't know how the world saw Nixon, but I know how the country saw Nixon, and they were very ashamed to have a president who would behave that way. And it was good that he resigned.
In what way do you think our nation changed on November 9th, 1989, when the Berlin Wall came down, effectively ending the Cold War?
I think this country breathed a sigh of relief because the Cold War was ending, and I think it was really wonderful for the people of Germany and for the rest of the world not to have that threat hanging over our head all the time.
What do you remember about September 11, 2001, when the country experienced a terrorist attack on the Pentagon and World Trade Center? How was America changed by this?
I think it was a really terrible event. I think the world, especially the United States, has become a very fearful nation. And I think that that's been exacerbated by politics in this country. I think that some politicians want people to be afraid, and they think they can gain power by doing that. I think people need to be brave and not afraid.
Can you remember August 6th and 9th, 1945, when America dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan? How do you think the U.S. changed following this event?
I don't remember that. I do remember the war being over. I didn't know what happened at on the streets. I was only 3 or 4 years old. But I remember that day because it was an amazing day with people out everywhere. It was so unusual. I think that it was a terrible thing that happened. I don't know if it should have happened or not. I'm glad the war ended.
And finally, it is said that every American citizen has a dream to be wealthy and have happiness, a better life for children. What was your dream, and do you think you achieved it?
My dream when I was very young is that I really wanted to accomplish something and make something of myself. And I feel that I certainly didn't become a scientist and get the Nobel Prize, but I was very successful in my career, and I won some awards, and I worked really hard, and now I'm retired, and I'm very, very happy to be retired.
Okay. Thank you. During my lifetime, a great impact on the nation was 9/11. It was a negative impact because lots of people lost their lives, and it was really sad for families. But it did tighten up our nation's security. And my American dream would be to finish high school, go to college, become a dental hygienist, have a family and kids, and a nice house.